Here again, you can see another preterm baby currently being nursed in an incubator. You can see clearly that the patient is being given oxygen via a mask and baby is comfortably sleeping. We are about to demonstrate to you how a nasogastric feeding will be done. In this baby, you can clearly see that there is a nasogastric tube in situ, and in a short while the nursing officer concerned, who will be looking after this baby during her shift, will try to give this baby a nasogastric feed. Now, before we commence a nasogastric feed, it is imperative that we make sure that the tube is in the right position. So therefore, before she commences the feed, the nursing officer will check to see whether the tube is in the stomach before she will give the feed. To check whether the tube is in the stomach, you can see now that a small amount of air is being pushed into the stomach while auscultating to see whether the air can be heard over the stomach. Having ascertained that the tube is in position, now you can see the nursing officer gradually extracting whatever air that was sent into the stomach to prevent unwanted abdominal distension. And now she is about to commence her nasogastric feeding. You can see a 10 millimeter syringe being used, and the plunger has been taken out. The plunger is now being inserted, and the milk will gradually get into the baby's stomach with the help of gravity. Of the 10 ml that was put into the syringe, now nearly 6 ml is still remaining. This goes to show that feeding a preterm baby through a NG tube with the aid of gravity is going to be a very slow process, and therefore will need a lot of patience and extreme care to ensure that the baby does not aspirate what is being given. What you are currently seeing is a small amount of sterile water being put in the syringe to allow the water to flow in to the nasogastric tube so that milk does not retain within the nasogastric tube. Now syringe is being removed and the nasogastric Here you can see a preterm baby who is not mature enough to suck well from the mother's breast is being fed. As you can see, there is a orogastric tube which has been inserted to the baby and a syringe has been connected to the orogastric tube. The nursing staff here, you can see, is holding the syringe which contains milk, and we allow the gravity to gradually help the milk to get into the baby's stomach. Sometimes, before we start orogastric feeds, it is possible to start what are called nasogastric feeds, where a nasogastric tube is inserted to a preterm baby, and through the nasogastric tube, in the same way, after connecting the nasogastric tube into a syringe, the feeding can take place. For preterm babies, before we initiate feeds, very often we start what are called trophic feeds to prime the gut. The reason why a preterm baby is unable to feed in large quantities is because the child may be having poor absorption and digestion, and therefore whenever we start feeding, we would generally start with small amounts of milk. A preterm baby who is born at about 28 weeks might initially be given milk about 0.5 milliliters to 1 milliliter every 3 hours. And then when the baby starts to tolerate milk, we will gradually increase the amount of milk that is given to the baby. Generally, a baby who is on full milk feeds and preterm will require about 120 milliliters per kilogram per day. So in effect, a baby who is about a kilo in weight will require about 120 milliliters of milk for a day. Now if the baby is being fed 3 hourly, then we may be giving the child about 15 milliliters every 3 hours. But some of the preterm babies, because their stomachs are quite small, are unable to tolerate such a large amount of milk, and such babies may be started on 2 hourly feeds. So if a 1 kilo baby is requiring 2 hourly feeds and the baby is getting 120 milliliters per kilogram, then we would be giving about 10 milliliters of milk every 2 hours to this baby.